the worst part of C-21, which the whole bill is junk, but the worst part is it cements the handgun freeze in legislation, making it very complex and difficult, but not impossible to overturn. So that's the worst part. But yeah, it's a bill that directly targets licensed sport shooters and hunters instead of criminals.
Today forward, it is no longer legal to buy, sell, or transfer a handgun in Canada.
What I encourage people to do is get as much people out there getting their gun license, get as much people out there, because it's going to be a lot harder to take back if there's a lot of people that own guns.
Responsible, ethical gun owners aren't out there committing crimes.
We get a background check every day. My neighbor doesn't, but I do.
Justin Trudeau thinks that stopping crime means we have to take away Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle.
Hi guys, what's up? Tabitha Peters here for Rebel News. I'm currently in Toronto at the Sportsman Show, one of Canada's largest events for outdoor enthusiasts. People come here to spend money on outdoor activities and get tips and advice on how to be better hunters, sports shooters, fishermen, boaters, and conservationists. These are the people directly affected by Justin Trudeau's ongoing attacks on Canada's law-abiding firearms community through his unsupported bans on thousands of models of popular Canadian firearms.
Or whether it's our most recent initiative on on freezing the market for firearms, which will start moving us in the right direction over the medium and long term.
Unlike Justin Trudeau, we're going to speak directly to firearms owners and enthusiasts. Our Prime Minister only talks to anti-gun activists who don't know anything about firearms. If you want to help us fight back against Trudeau's assault on Canadian property rights, please go to handsofffourguns.ca. We want to talk to people he is scapegoating for the rising crime in Canada's progressive cities.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns.
Like I said, these are real gun experts. What is the CCFR doing to fight back?
So unfortunately, now that the bill's received royal assent, it is what it is. The focus now needs to be on a new government. A Poilievre-led Conservative government has agreed to They've confirmed that they would be overturning the bill, repealing C-21.
We're going to stand up for our law-abiding sport shooters and hunters. Support the hunters.
We're interested in hearing firearm owners' perspective on Trudeau's gun control initiative and whether they intend to hand over their firearms for government compensation.
There are some guns, yes, that we're going to have to take away from people who were using them to hunt.
Even Premier of Ontario Doug Ford attended the Sportsman Show. He was spotted exploring the fishing area and meeting with tons of gun lobby groups, owners and hunters.
What brings you here today?
I've got my own store down in Niagara, so yeah, as I say, come up here every year, help the guys out and see where we go and push the gun thing really. I mean, we're all a bunch of safe guys, you know, we're not worrying about the normal shooter. We're worried about, you know, the guys on the street corners taking the guns and all the rest of it, and what the Liberal government is actually doing to the gun trade. They're absolutely killing it, you know, so we hope for a change of government pretty soon.
Tracy, can you tell me a bit about Justin Trudeau's Bill C-21 gun laws? What's happening? How do you guys feel about that?
So C-21 has received royal assent, so it is law in Canada. The worst part of C-21, which the whole bill is junk, but the worst part is it cements the handgun freeze in legislation, making it very complex and difficult, but not impossible to overturn. So that's the worst part. But yeah, it's a bill that directly targets licensed sport shooters and hunters instead of criminals.
Today forward, it is no longer legal to buy, sell, or transfer a handgun in Canada.
It's not addressing the gun violence, it's not addressing the gun crime. I know they just made a change recently to add that magazines had to be, you know, presented a gun license in order to purchase magazines. Again, that's not doing anything for the crime. You're just making it another step for businesses that need to do. You're not actually addressing any type of gun violence, any type of gun issues.
Well, we're already hearing from a lot of our members that family members who have passed away, and the government's already come and collected their firearms. And there's been no compensation for these members, so that's huge for our members.
Hunting's been such a big part of this country for such a long time. A lot of us spend a lot of time in the backcountry. It's really become a way of life for us. And, I think it ought to be something that we have accessibility to.
What are your opinions on Bill C-21?
So my opinions are that I think it's too restrictive. Obviously, I believe in safe gun. We believe in safe gun handling, and we believe that there's certain laws, but there's all-encompassing law. I don't support that. We don't support that.
Unfortunately, with where we're sitting right now, things weren't very well researched before they were implemented. There was a lot of conversation about not affecting hunters, not affecting sport shooters, and they were looking to target crime. We've proven that that is in fact not what any of this has accomplished, and it's to the detriment of those of us that are law-abiding gun owners. We're the ones that are suffering the consequences of this bill.
There's a bunch of other measures in there too, like the changes to the existing red flag measures in C-21 actually put women in jeopardy. It takes a victim of domestic abuse and forces them to go to court to appeal to the judge to take away their abuser's firearms if they're a licensed firearms owner. Whereas right now, you can just call the police and they go and do it. So I don't know why they would want to put women in that position, but anyways, this is the way it is with this government, right?
Do you believe these measures will effectively address the issues of gun violence in Canada? And this has been a big one that everyone was chiming in on.
Absolutely not. This only attacks legal gun owners. The problem's still out there. The criminals still have the guns, and they'll still always get the guns. And targeting legal gun owners does nothing for our safety. We're the most vetted population here in Canada. We get a background check every day. My neighbor doesn't, but I do.
So frustrating. I mean, as I say, I run a store and the government is killing us, and they're killing us softly. They're taking bit by bit by bit, and before long all the hunting guns are going to be gone, and then they're going to be after the fishing, and then they're going to be after your cars, and then they're going to be after your houses. You know, because they've not given us no money for our guns. They've just took them all away, but we haven't got anything for them. There's no plan for a buyback. So we honestly don't know what the government's going to do.
There's a lot of better ways that we can solve some problems, but it takes a lot of communication between both sides. And it seems like one side is hell-bent on just not listening to what the people want. So, you know what I mean?
You have, I don't know how many hunters, thousands and thousands of hunters go into a 3-week period of going into the bush with, firearms, and nobody's getting injured. So, right? I mean, yeah, you're not having any issues whatsoever, and you got a lot of people that are in the bush armed, with their firearms, and they're hunting deer, and everybody's very respectful. We're law-abiding citizens here. The big issue comes down, and you can see this already in the U.S., and there's a very common denominator. Chicago's got some of the worst gun crime out there, and they got some of the toughest gun laws, right? I mean, like, history repeats itself, right? New York, toughest on gun crime, lots of gun violence, right?
I'm a prior conservation officer, so 32 years in law enforcement. My daughter is an RCMP officer, and I do not see that this is going to solve any of that issues. There's no issues in this place. I used to take my gun to school. I'm that old, right? So, you know what I mean? So, no, I don't think it's going to solve the problem. We all know gangs, they know where the guns are coming from, the illegal guns. This is just smoke and mirrors.
Guns are being trafficked, right? Like pistols, handguns, all that stuff is being trafficked. So does it really help with, keeping criminal activity off the streets? No, because the main source of the problem is not being fixed. They're trying to implement a law that's not actually going to help you.
So right now, I think the most important thing we can do is take somebody out to the range, or take them out hunting, take them out shooting. The very best way to influence somebody's opinions about guns and gun ownership is to take them to the range. We can argue on Twitter all day long. You're really not going to change hearts and minds that way. June 1st is National Range Day, which is a national day to celebrate the 2.3 million gun owners that make up the firearms community in Canada and their families. And at our range in Ottawa, we're going to be having a huge event. Clubs all across the country are opening their doors to the public. So, really important.
I think the cold hard truth is that most of the crime that we're seeing with guns is probably coming from illegal gun purchases, right? Responsible, ethical gun owners aren't out there committing crimes. We're responsible, we use them well, we're hunters. That's really what it's about, especially for our sport shooters too. There's a lot of subsects within the gun community that would pretty much cease to exist if we just eliminate the ability for people to get firearms entirely.
What I encourage people to do is get as much people out there getting their gun license, get as much people out there, because it's going to be a lot harder to take back if there's a lot of people that own guns. So you know what? There's a lot of great stuff out there. I hear some people talking about how, I'm nervous about getting my gun license. I'm going to buy something I can't use. buy it anyways, right? Like that's the best way you can support the industry. You get out there, you show people that you're here and you're not going away, that we're going to continue to buy guns, we're going to continue to hold guns, and it's going to get harder and harder for people to take that right away from you, the more citizens that own that.
The reality of the situation is that they are looking to target gun crime specifically. It's a border control issue. It's an issue with repeat offenders being released when it comes to gun crimes, as opposed to keeping people in prison where they're not able to reoffend. Stricter punishments, especially first offense, second offense. We really shouldn't be looking at third offense people that are out on the streets that still have the ability to acquire firearms. They're not being acquired legally. So kind of in a nutshell, it has done nothing to improve the gun crimes that we're dealing with here in Canada.
Justin Trudeau thinks that stopping crime means we have to take away Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle. We've got news. Justin Trudeau's made it clear. If he's re-elected, he will ban every single civilian firearm. Not one single hunter will be left able to harvest the wilderness for sustenance or recreation. He published 300 pages of hunting rifles that he wanted to ban. He's made it clear that that is his agenda. This is going to come at the cost of billions of dollars to send our police out harassing licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested firearms owners who have already been vetted by the RCMP. That is wasted money, my friends. Instead, we will take that money and we will put it into reinforcing our borders and our ports to keep the illegal drugs out.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you want to help us fight back against Trudeau's assault on Canadian property rights, please go to handsoffourguns.ca.